Today we're doing Module 4, Lesson 29. How many lessons are there in Module 4 again?
33.
Okay, so we're nearing the end. And today your learning goal is I can divide by 1/10 and 1/100th. So are we dividing by a whole number or by a fraction? Fraction. Does it say anything about if our wholes are going to be whole numbers or fractions? So basically, by the end of today, you should be able to divide any number, whether it's a whole number or a decimal or a fraction, by 1/10 or by 1/100th. Go ahead and start by writing this equation in your notebook. 9 divided by 0.1. So we would say 9 divided by 1/10. Okay, now, right next to where you wrote it, see if you could write that using fractions. Well, if it's 9 divided by 1/10, wouldn't it be like that? Right? Okay. Now let me ask you a question. How many tenths are there in one whole? 10. But do we have one whole right now? How many holes do we have? 9. So if there's 10 tenths in one hole, how many tenths are there in two holes?
20.
How many tenths are there in 5 holes?
15.
How many holes do we actually have?
9.
So how many holes are there in 9 holes? I mean, how many tenths are there in 9 holes?
90.
90. So then, remember, isn't 9 divided by 1/10 asking you how many tenths can fit inside 9 holes? Right? It's like there's a baker who has 9 meters of rope, and he wants to cut them into 1/10 sections. How many sections will there be in 9 meters of rope? How many will there be? 90. So what's the answer? 9 divided by 0.1 or 9 divided by 1/10 is? 90. Okay. Very Let's take a look at this one. 3.6 divided by 0.1. What's different about this problem compared to the two we just did? Jaden? Ooh, this one is no longer just a whole number. Does that make it harder? Maybe. Can you do it? Definitely. Okay, how do we say this 3.6 using words? 3 and 6/10. How do we say this? 0 and 1/10. So we could say this is 3 and 6/10 divided by 1/10. Let's write that in fractions. 3 and 6/10 divided by 1/10. Now remember, anytime you're dividing by a fraction, it's asking you how many of those fractions can fit into the, what do we call this number? The whole. Okay, so we're seeing how many tenths can fit into 3 and 6/10. Okay, you can do this. Let's take it part by part. How many tenths are there in 3 holes? 30. Okay, so let's write that down. There are 30 tenths in 3 holes. How many tenths are there in 6/10? 6. So how many tenths are there in 3 and 6/10? 36. Very good.